Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are doing another tier list today. Kind of only makes sense to be doing this tier list considering the NFL season just ended like a week ago because of the Super Bowl. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to do this because I want you guys to know my opinions on each of these quarterbacks. So we're going to be ranking them from not really worst to best, but just we're making a tier list out of it. All the starting quarterbacks this year. There might be some adjustments, there might not, who knows. But we're going to get right into it. So if you guys want to see more videos like these, please just let me know. Yeah, I don't think there's really not much to say about this, but pretty excited to do this. We have all of these guys labeled here up on the screen, and we got tiers ranging from S, A, B, C, D, and F, with F being absolutely like ginormously dog shit, and S is just god tier skill wise. So yeah, I'm ready to do this, but you guys are probably going to hate some of my opinions just depending on where I put these guys, but we'll see what happens. First one is Tua. I think Tua definitely goes in, I would say he's an S tier quarterback for sure. He led him pass, I believe he led in passing yards this year, and I think he was like tied for third or something like that for completion rating. It was something really high. But Tua with just a fast offense around him just makes him super deadly. Like, you already have Tyreek and Raheem Mostert. Those two weapons right there already make him one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And the more he uses them, the more it's going to get easier for him, you know? Obviously, the Dolphins didn't really go far in the playoffs this year, but hell, he's just a great quarterback. I think I would rely on Tua more than a lot of these other guys here. All right. Next quarterback we have is Jared Goff. So this man is, I think he's easily becoming quickly one of my favorite quarterbacks right now. Skill-wise, he did great this year. He did fantastic for the Lions. Hell, Lions just made the NFC Championship this year. So, wow. Thank you, Jared Goff, for just, I don't even know what to say. So, I think skill-wise for Jared Goff, we're probably going to be putting him, I want to put him S tier. I really do. I'm dabbling between S and A tier right here, so I don't really know. I might have to make an adjustment like right at the end of it, but I think right now, I'm going to say Jared Goff is probably going to go into the S tier. I think we're going to base maybe some of it off of this season. But anyways, Jared Goff and his Lions offense and defense, dude, that team is just something special. And Dan Campbell's a great coach. Jared Goff has definitely excelled ever since going to the Lions. Maybe his first year didn't say much, but he's definitely there. His skill is just unmatched. Next one is Joe Burrow. I think obviously Joe Burrow is way up here. He was injured halfway through the season this year, so that kind of sucked. So we didn't get to see much of him. But I do believe Joe Burrow, skill-wise as a quarterback, is definitely, I would probably say, an A-tier quarterback. If I really were to judge Joe Burrow, I would have judged him by his current season stats. But he got injured this season, so there wasn't much to see out of him. But before he got injured here, if I pull it up right now, right after he got injured, he ended up racking about 2,300 yards. He threw about only 6 interceptions, had 15 passing touchdowns, and his longest was a 64-yarder. So that's what it says right here. Obviously, Joe Burrow is like, once he comes back next season, I feel like it's over for most teams, but we're not going to judge that until we get closer to the season, and we'll make a video on that too. So, but as of right now, Joe Burrow is an A-tier quarterback. Next one is Jordan Love. I gotta be honest, I don't really think Jordan Love is that good of a quarterback. I don't have a problem with him. I just don't think he's that good. He ended up being 7th in passing yards this year, and he had a lot of touchdowns to a lot of, not really a lot of interceptions, but like 11 interceptions. Based off this season and his skill, he probably would be like maybe D, maybe F if it was at the start of the season. But after this season, I'm giving him a B tier. He did really well. And I will take that to the grave for this season. He did great. There's really nothing much to say about him except like, it's kind of weird knowing a rookie quarterback who is just going in and he's actually starting a full season, and he has pretty much some no-name weapons around him. The really only receivers I can think of is Christian Watson. But Jordan Love makes shit happen. So, all right, Brock Purdy with the Glock 30, easily S tier. I know you guys might think I'm just like a Niners bandwagon or something like that. I'm a real Niners fan. Brock Purdy did fantastic this year. Obviously, he had that one bad game against the Ravens, so that deteriorated his completion status and his interception rate. So Brock Purdy ended up throwing about 11 interceptions, but he threw 31 touchdowns, and he ended up being 5th in passing yards with, I believe, if we look... never mind. We're not going to dig through this right now. But Brock Purdy's stats are way up there, and he was definitely in one of the front runners for being MVP. So, Brock Purdy, S tier, simple. I think everybody else would agree with that. If you don't, then I want you to explain why. So, yep, Brock Purdy, S tier. But next up is Sam Howell. Sam Howell, skill-wise, I have to check his stats. Like, I literally just have to see, because I had him in fantasy in one of my leagues at one point, and he didn't do bad. But there was like games where he would go off, and it's like obviously NFL too, because it correlates to can't speak today. It correlates to fantasy. So went 21 for 21 on touchdowns and interceptions, had nearly 4,000 passing yards, and a completion percentage of 63.4. Had about 232 yards per game, which I thought was way higher. So okay, so based on that situation, I would probably give Sam Howell a good B tier. I would say that's good enough. There really isn't much to say about him other than that Washington's probably one of the worst teams right now, and who knows? This guy might need to do something. Next quarterback is Trevor Lawrence. I don't know why I keep pressing right click, but we have Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence easily goes in A tier. He's the best thing the Jaguars have right now, and that's saying a lot. All right. Obviously, the Jags got Josh Allen. They got all sorts of different weapons. They have Josh Allen. They have Calvin Ridley was on there this year. He's a free agent this year now, so who knows? But Trevor Lawrence is probably the best player on the team, period. And there's no doubting that. Last year, he got into the playoffs, and they ended up beating the Chargers. They came back and beat the Chargers last year. This year, they didn't make the playoffs, but it was a very, very tight AFC South division. So we're going to give Trevor Lawrence his flowers and shit, and he's gonna go right up there. I mean, he threw 4,000 yards again, so, and he ended up being top 10 for passing yards. So hey, I would say that's good in my book. Next up is Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, this guy literally got hurt on like one of the first plays of the season. So season wise, he'd be down here. Overall wise, he's an S tier. So you can't deny Aaron Rodgers, his skill and his not really mobility, but his skill, his accuracy. He's a gambler. He's a gambler on his throws, dude. He throws everything to his receivers. And you got to be honest, if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers, I would feel like the Jets would do a lot worse than they did this year, given the fact that they have lost a few weapons over time. And he even recruited Dalvin Cook, and Dalvin Cook even left in the end. Thing was with Aaron Rodgers, if he gets injured next year, it's probably over for him. He will be back next year. He said he would, but we need to figure like all the things that Aaron Rodgers has done to this Jets team. Probably, if he was the starting quarterback this year, the Jets would probably be in the playoffs. Simple as that. Aaron Rodgers' skill is completely unmatched compared to almost the entire quarterback carousel. But so yeah, he's going to be up there along with this next person, which you can't deny. Patrick Mahomes is literally one of the best quarterbacks. He's the second coming of Tom Brady. He just won his 3rd Super Bowl. He's a two-time MVP. He's a 3-time Super Bowl MVP. And he ended up finishing top 6 in passing yards this year. He didn't have many touchdowns thrown, but it's Patrick Mahomes, guys. You can't I'm not dick riding Patrick Mahomes, okay? Like, all the commentators, they dick ride Patrick Mahomes. Even when the Niners scored in the Super Bowl, they still dick ride Patrick Mahomes. So, but anyways, enough about that. Patrick Mahomes is going to go in S tier. Like it or not, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of this generation and perhaps of all time. Next up is Philly's Jalen Hurts. I would probably give him an A tier. The Eagles are such an overrated team. I definitely will say that. Jalen Hurts, he has good games, then he has bad games, which kind of makes him flop back and forth between the rankings. But overall, he's a great run and gun quarterback. His stats weren't that high. He almost had 4,000 passing yards, and he had 23 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. And rushing wise, not exactly sure how many touchdowns he had rushing wise, but we'll check real quick. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I passed it. So he had 15 rushing touchdowns to about, I think he had 15 rushing and 23 passing, and he had thrown 15 interceptions. But, you know, if you have that many rushing touchdowns compared to passing touchdowns, then it's really not that big of a deal. You got it. You kind of just like let that go. So I would say Jalen Hurts will probably go right here. Who knows? Maybe this guy will make another Super Bowl in the coming years, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next quarterback we have is Desmond Ridder. Okay. All you Falcons fans are going to hate me, but I think Desmond Ridder is an F-tier quarterback. I think he's probably the worst quarterback in the league at the moment. This guy didn't do anything this season. He had 12 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. He hardly even broke. He literally just... Here, hold on. I got to find this thing real quick. I was literally just reading it before I was starting to talk about it. He didn't even make 3,000 passing yards. His team around him is just like very, very inconsistent besides maybe Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. Those are two weapons that are going to be used more than Desmond Ridder himself. So, because of that, Desmond Ridder is going to be down here. And it's kind of hard to say, but it's either D or F for Desmond Ridder. So, yeah. Next up is Kyler Murray. Obviously, he was injured half the way through the season too, and he came back like, what, week 9? Week 10, maybe? I don't really know. But Kyle Pitts. I was about to say Kyle Pitts. Kyler Murray, he is actually not that bad of a quarterback overall. Given this season, since he's been hurt most of the time, it kind of deteriorated that ranking. So I'm going to give I'll probably give Kyler Murray a good C tier. Probably, that position will probably change soon, but we'll figure it out and probably by the end of this year. But I don't know much about Kyler Murray. I just know he's on the Cardinals. And for being a run and gun quarterback, that dude slings it for running like, he runs like a penguin. So, yeah. But anyways, he finished the season 10 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, and I think he just got over 1,000 yards in passing, 1,799 yards. So, yeah. We'll just end it off there for Kyler Murray. Next one is probably my favorite personal quarterback in the league. No, it's not Brock Purdy, even though I'm a Niners fan. It is Josh Allen, and I think Josh Allen goes in the S tier. I would think he's definitely one of the front runners for MVP this year. Hold on, let's check this out. We're going to check out some more touchdowns and interceptions, all right? Josh Allen, he threw 29 touchdowns. He had 18 interceptions, but he had a lot of rushing touchdowns. He had 15. So, yeah. Josh Allen, he's also such a strong quarterback. You can get stiff armed by him. He can hurdle you. And this dude's big. He's probably taller than I am, and I'm 6'3". But yeah, he's a huge dude. But his skill-wise and his career-wise in Buffalo, he definitely didn't get him a spot on the S tier category. And however, this next one, Kenny Pickett. Steelers fans. Okay. You guys are going to hate me for this one too. Kenny Pickett, he just broke maybe over 2,000 yards. I can't even find him on here. And I don't think I've seen him thrown like one touchdown this season. But I know he probably has. But just given that, and given like last year's shenanigans, he joins Desmond Ridder in S tier. Nothing more I have to say about that. I feel bad for putting this next guy in the F tier, but Mac Jones, I'm really sorry. You had more interceptions than touchdowns thrown this year, so that was really, really bad. You hardly even broke 1,000 or 2,000 yards. You got 2,100 yards. Yeah, just the Patriots team is just terrible. Belichick's gone now, so hopefully this new head coach, whoever it is going to get Mac Jones bolstered a bit, but we'll figure it out. Next quarterback up is Geno Smith. Smith's stats are good, and they were good last year for like comeback player of the year. He was actually one of the runner-ups for it. But it's either between B or C tier. I don't think he's that good, personally. I don't think he's that good in Seattle. I'll be nice. I'll give him a B tier. I hardly don't even know what his stats are, and I follow up on the Seahawks just a little bit just because they're in the same division, but I just don't think Geno's that good of a quarterback, personally. He's not going to be the one to carry Seattle to a potential Super Bowl or even the playoffs. So, it looks like here it says Geno threw 3,600 yards and he had 20 touchdowns for 9 interceptions, which is actually pretty good. And he had a 64 completion percentage. and averaged about 241.6 yards a game. So that's a good season, definitely. But I just don't think, if Seattle's trying to make a postseason run or perhaps a Super Bowl run, he's not the guy to do it. I'm sorry, but he's just not. Next one is Dak Prescott, and Dak easily goes up in the S tier, which I have 7 quarterbacks in the S tier. I think the one I'd probably take out, probably the most likely. And I said I was going to make adjustments on this, but yeah, I'll put Jared Goff top of A tier. So Dak's in S tier. Dak is by far one of the best quarterbacks right now, especially one of the greatest quarterbacks for the Cowboys franchise in general. He threw 36 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, had 4,500 passing yards, and has 69.5 completion percentage. I'm pretty sure he was up there with the MVP race too. Dak's one of Dallas's best weapons, I would say. His dots to CeeDee Lamb are just immaculate. But that's really all I can say about Dak. Next quarterback is Justin Fields. I don't have a problem with Justin Fields. I just think he's on the wrong team, which definitely has a lot to do with what his stats are currently. He threw 16 for 9 touchdowns to interceptions this year, and he literally just barely broke 2,500 yards. Now, if I were to base it on where he would be at, like skill-wise as a quarterback, he's a great running quarterback. By far one of the best in the league. But his passing game's got it up, and I think it has a lot to do with his receivers, which isn't his fault. I gotta admit, it isn't his fault, but it does have a lot to do with his stats. So, I think right now, I would give Justin Fields probably a C tier. I think that's nice enough for Justin Fields. Next one is, I think this is Anthony Richardson. I might be wrong. No, it is. Okay, so Anthony Richardson only played a couple games, and he ended up getting injured. He hurt his shoulder. But as a quarterback for the Colts so far, he was doing pretty good. But since he wasn't playing all too much, I'm gonna put him in C tier just for now because we don't have enough stats to actually rank him as one of the most skillful quarterbacks at the moment. So he's gonna be a C tier quarterback. Next one is Mr. MVP himself, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was one of my favorite quarterbacks at one point. I think you guys know if you viewed much of this channel. Just won the MVP this year, made it to the AFC Championship, and lost against the Chiefs. I think it's happened to all of them. Anyways, Lamar Jackson is just, as a Baltimore quarterback, he is absolutely phenomenal. I think his weapons around him have a lot to do with his skill, but you can't deny he's also one of the best run and gun quarterbacks. I think he might actually be the best run and gun quarterback in the entire league. So we got to give Lamar Jackson his flowers. Hell, he won MVP this year, so I think that's really all we can say about him, right? Next quarterback is Justin Herbert. Obviously, you guys saw the Chargers did terrible this year. They did shit, but Justin Herbert himself goes in A tier. This guy's actually a really good quarterback. It's just the Chargers are way too inconsistent of a team, and they're deteriorating this guy's career, and I feel so bad for him. Next one is CJ Stroud. Okay, this guy definitely going in S tier after this year. Wow, what a rookie season this man had. Seriously, I think he ended up being top 8 in passing yards, and he had 23 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Had a few rushing touchdowns in there too, so that's amazing. This guy won Offensive Rookie of the Year. So, props to him. Wait, was it Offensive Rookie of the Year, or was it? Yeah, I think it was Offensive Rookie of the Year. I was thinking there's another rookie award, but I don't think there is for offense. Up next, we have Derek Carr. Now, so Derek Carr and the Saints this year was pretty disappointing for the most part. We thought the Saints were going to do wildly better with Derek Carr on the team, but since we can't really gather much information out of that, his stats were not that good this year, besides him almost making... Actually, wait. Oh, he didn't do that bad this year. What am I saying? Okay, let's give him a B tier. I'll be nice. But it says here, Derek Carr, he threw for 3,878 yards, had a 68.4 completion percentage, and threw 25 touchdowns, I believe. 25 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. So, that's a pretty good season in New Orleans for Derek Carr. But the team as a whole, it's bringing him down, man. I don't know what else to say about him. Next quarterback goes to Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is definitely one of my personal favorite quarterbacks right now. But if I were to rank him anywhere, I probably might have to put him... Okay, this is difficult. This is actually very difficult. I might have to put him in A tier. or B tier. It's one of these two. That Rams organization's a little different with him around, but we have to. I think the bright spot for Matthew Stafford is probably going to be, yeah, A tier. Okay. I don't know if I agree with that. He almost made it to 4,000 yards, and he had 24 touchdowns to 11 interceptions this season, and he has 62.6 completion percentage. Overall, Matt Stafford, obviously, when he was on the Lions, he was good. Sometimes he wasn't. His first year with the Rams, he made the Super Bowl and won one. So, just leave it there. Next up is Baker Mayfield. After this season, if I was ranking it just based on this season's stats, he would be right here. He would definitely be right in this category, A tier. Overall, as a quarterback, though, I think I might have to put Baker also in B tier because he had a bunch of down years with the Cleveland Browns, and especially with the Carolina Panthers, just absolutely ruined him until he went to the Rams. And then he was basically signed to fill that void that Tom Brady had left in Tampa Bay, and he excelled greatly in that category. So, yeah, we'll put him there. Kind of sucks. This might have to be the first D tier quarterback, and it goes to Ryan Tannehill off the Tennessee Titans. If this was 2021, maybe 2020, he'd be up here. But the past couple seasons, you guys understand. I know you guys understand. Next one is Russell Wilson. I have mixed opinions about this dude in Denver, but he didn't do too bad this year. So I want to say last year in Denver was terrible for him, for sure. He had a couple down years in Seattle, especially. He had one losing season in Seattle, for sure. And he's won a Super Bowl. But I gotta say, he's probably... Oh, fuck it. Whatever. A tier. Yeah, just put him there. But he's not a bad quarterback. He's probably one of the greatest quarterbacks in this generation. But yeah, we're going to leave it there. I got nothing to say about this guy. If this was Seattle, it would be a different story. Next up, we have Daniel Jones. As you guys may know, Daniel Jones did tear his Achilles or ACL or something like that. So that really knocked him down pretty good. But like going into this season, he did not have high expectations at all, and I feel bad for any Giants fans seeing this, but he goes in F tier. Sorry, but that's just how it is. Next one is Deshaun Watson. This is going to be a wacky one. After this year, like, if this was Texans Deshaun Watson, he'd probably be up here. Now it's Browns Deshaun Watson. And hasn't even started a full season, and it's been 2 years since he got traded to the Browns. So, I don't really know. Yeah, we'll just put him in D tier. I actually don't even know where to put him. I was either going to put him in C tier or D tier. But the guys above him are just, I think, are personally just better. Pains me to see this next face go into one of the bottom tiers. Jimmy Garoppolo, former Niner and former Patriot. This guy literally just got suspended for performance-enhancing substances, but Garoppolo in 49ers country, amazing. 49ers or Raiders country, no, absolutely not. This guy took his career in the wrong direction. So I think just for that, he's getting D tier. Next up is, I think this is Bryce Young. It's not his fault. It's definitely not his fault, but we got to go with the facts here, right? Surrounded by a terrible Panthers team. But I think this offseason, if they make the right moves, they can help Bryce Young. He will probably excel way better next season. I promise you that. The final one on this list goes to Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins goes in A tier. Kirk Cousins is by far one of the best things the Vikings have right now. He's now a free agent, which if the Vikings do not re-sign him, I think they're making a very, very big mistake if they do not re-sign him. Kirk Cousins, his skill is just completely unmatched. Too bad he had to tear his Achilles mid-season. But this guy is just all around. He's a fantastic quarterback. He's hardly ever had a down season, and last year was probably one of his best seasons. And he was on pace. I think he was leading in like second in passing yards, like less than less than half of the season until he got hurt. But either way, I think we can't really deny that Kirk Cousins is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. So that is it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, do your thing, and let me know what other videos you guys want to see on this channel. I'm open to anything. So yeah, just let me know and I'll look at it and I'll see if I can make it happen. But thank you guys for watching, and we will see you all in the next one. Peace out.